Imagine waking up one morning to see men in reflective vests cutting through your perfectly maintained fences and digging trenches across your property without a warning, without a notice, and with a smugness that tells you they think they own the place. You rush outside only to discover the HOA has decided your land is fair game, laying water pipes across it like it's their personal project, completely disregarding your rights, your property, and your peace of mind. You feel a mix of anger, helplessness, and disbelief. But what if I told you there was a way to turn the tables in a way they never saw coming, a way to take back control, and to make them regret ever crossing you? This is the story of how a homeowner fought back against a relentless HOA, bought the source, and turned off their supply, and you're about to see every shocking twist and clever move that made it happen. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a wild HOA showdown like this one. If you've ever had issues with an HOA or know someone who has, this story will blow your mind and maybe give you some ideas on standing up for your property rights. Stick around till the end because the moves made here are both shocking and genius, and you're not going to want to miss a single detail. It started innocently enough. A quiet morning with birds chirping and the sun barely cresting the horizon when the first signs of chaos appeared. The fences that once marked the boundary of a peaceful private property were being cut like paper by a crew wearing the HOA's familiar logo. Trenches formed jagged scars across well-kept lawns, the hum of heavy machinery filling the air. The homeowner walked the perimeter, hearts sinking as they realized the audacity of what was happening. Documents were ignored, permits bypassed, and no conversation or warning preceded the invasion. This wasn't just carelessness. It was deliberate, an assertion of dominance by an organization that had grown accustomed to unchecked power. Each cut fence panel, each scrape of dirt, each hiss of a pipe being laid into the ground was a message. We can do what we want. The homeowner felt cornered, enraged, but also inspired. This was the kind of situation where ordinary people would call the authorities and hope for justice, but sometimes justice is slow, and HOA members rarely face immediate consequences. Determination grew. There had to be a way to reclaim control. Hours turned into days as the homeowner documented everything, snapping photographs, recording videos, noting the time and date of each intrusion. The HOA board continued its work, seemingly unbothered by the presence of witnesses, thinking the power dynamic had already been set. Every meeting request was ignored, every polite inquiry met with thinly veiled threats or silence. A spark of an idea began forming. If they were trying to assert control over your resources, perhaps the ultimate response was to reclaim the source itself. But obtaining control over an entire water supply wasn't simple. It required research, patience, and strategy. The homeowner spent late nights poring over municipal documents, utility maps, legal codes, and property deeds. They learned exactly how the water system worked, where the supply originated, and the pathways that carried it across neighborhoods, including the pipes laid across their property. With each discovery, confidence grew, the seeds of a bold plan taking root. The final piece of the puzzle came in the form of a rarely noticed, often overlooked property, the actual source of the water feeding the HOA's system. It was privately owned, a small facility that had been passed over by developers for decades, considered unremarkable. To the untrained eye, it was nothing, but to someone determined, it was power in its rawest form. After securing financing and navigating the legal hurdles, the property was purchased. Owning the source meant owning control. Suddenly, the tables had turned. The homeowner could now control the very flow the HOA relied on. The satisfaction of seeing those who once acted without consequence, now dependent on the benevolence of the person they had tried to intimidate, was unmatched. With careful planning, the system was manipulated to gradually restrict water flow to the HOA's unauthorized lines, while maintaining supply to legitimate connections. Notices were sent not out of fear but out of necessity, documenting the legality of actions in preparation for any potential backlash. The HOA, once bold and brazen, was suddenly scrambling. Meetings that had been dominated by their sense of entitlement now became desperate attempts to negotiate. Engineers were called in, lawyers consulted, and tempers flared, but all while the homeowner maintained a calm, calculating demeanor, fully aware that every move was within legal rights and controlled entirely by them. As the days progressed, the HOA's frustration grew. Pipes that once gushed water freely now trickled slowly, their entire schedule disrupted. Residents complained, the board panicked, and every call for service revealed the source of their plight. Yet the homeowner didn't stop at water control. Surveillance, photographic evidence, and meticulous records ensured that every action the HOA took could be challenged if they attempted retaliation. The narrative shifted. The victim was now in command, and the aggressor's hubris became their vulnerability. Local media picked up the story, intrigued by a private citizen successfully reclaiming control over a community's utility in response to unlawful encroachment. Public opinion swayed dramatically, sympathy firmly on the side of the homeowner, while the HOA's once dominant image of authority crumbled. Pressure from higher authorities and community backlash forced the HOA to reconsider its aggressive tactics. Meetings that had once been closed-door power plays were now public, moderated, and tense. The homeowner used this leverage carefully, negotiating the removal of unauthorized pipes and the restoration of property lines, all while maintaining legal superiority. Every action was methodical, every response documented. This wasn't just retaliation. It was strategy, justice, and a lesson in boundaries delivered with precision. Yet the story didn't end there. The homeowner leveraged the situation to implement a more transparent system for future disputes, ensuring that residents and the HOA alike would have clear channels for negotiation and cooperation. The once feared HOA became a model of accountability, constrained by the very rules they had tried to ignore. The triumph wasn't merely personal. It reshaped the community's dynamic, empowering individuals to stand up against authority when rights were being violated. The homeowner had turned anger into action, injustice into a masterclass in strategy, and disruption into a permanent shift in power. The lesson was simple. Knowledge, preparation, and courage could dismantle even the most entrenched sense of entitlement. Every fence cut, every trench dug, every attempt to intimidate had led to this moment of vindication. The flow of water had become a symbol of control, a tangible demonstration of turning the tables, and the HOA would remember this for decades. With the property restored, boundaries enforced, and legal control cemented, the homeowner finally breathed, not with a sense of victory, but with a profound awareness of their own resilience and capacity to defend what was rightfully theirs. It was more than revenge. It was empowerment, a realignment of justice in favor of the individual. The community, once passive, now stood united in understanding that power isn't given freely. It must be respected and defended. This story isn't just about a fight over water or fences. It's a testament to the fact that knowledge is power, preparation is key, and standing firm in your rights can produce outcomes that seem almost cinematic. If you enjoyed seeing an ordinary person outsmart an overreaching HOA, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping HOA stories, property battles, and revenge tales that prove one determined individual can indeed take control and change the rules of the game.